One of the most iconic parts of the Seder is when we bring up the four sons and the questions that they ask. We bring up the wise son, we bring up the wicked son, we bring up the simple son, we bring up the son who doesn't even know how to ask. It truly symbolizes that Pesach is such a non-judgmental Yom Tov, that everyone is welcome to celebrate in the Geula and the redemption of the Jews from Mitzrayim. Everyone asks their questions, everyone gets their answers, everybody feels involved. It's such a beautiful idea. The problem with that is that if you look a little bit into the teichen and the content of the questions that are being asked, Pesach is the most judgmental out of all of them. The celebrated Chacham opens up with his mind-boggling question: what are the mitzvahs that we are commanded? Or in more specific words, the Chacham asks, what are the mitzvahs that Hashem commanded you? Wait, what? What are the mitzvahs that we are commanded? What type of question is that? Slight problem. This is the Chacham we're talking about? The smart man who's asking what are the mitzvahs that are being commanded to us? What type of question is that? Furthermore, he says it in the words, Ma ha'edus v'ha'chukim v'ha'mishpatim. What are the testimonies, laws, and statutes that are commanded? But anybody who knows a little bit about mitzvahs knows that the three categories of mitzvahs, which are mishpatim, basic laws we would do anyway, edus, laws that we wouldn't come up with by ourselves, but once Hashem commands it to us, we see a reason for it, and chukim, mitzvahs that we still have no idea why we do, like keeping kosher and the like, should be listed in a rational to not rational order, or a not rational to rational order, either starting with the basic laws and ending with the laws that we have no idea what we're talking about, or starting with the laws that we don't know and making it to the laws that we do know. But the problem is, when the Chacham asks this question, what are the Eidos, Chukim, and Mishpatim, he asks it in the one order that doesn't work. What are the testimonies, the middle one, then the Chukim, the third one, and then Mishpatim, the first one? What's going on here? If that's not enough, not just is the Chacham not smart, he's no different than the Rasha's question. The Rasha asks a little more sarcastically, what are you guys doing? But we shut the Rasha up, and we tell him, since you said you're excluding yourself, and if you were in Mitzrayim, you wouldn't have been redeemed. Mind you, the Chacham also said you. What are you guys doing? He said it in a nice, more simple manner, but it's no different than the Rasha's question in its content. The Chacham and the Rasha asks, what are you guys doing? Yet one is a celebrated Chacham, and one is the degraded Rasha. Talk about judgmental. They're essentially the same question. But comes the Rebbe and gives us a completely different perspective on what the four sons, particularly the Chacham and the Rasha, are asking. You see, the Chacham knows that Pesach is not lip service. Reading the Haggadah is not something to keep me busy till 2 o'clock in the morning. It is literally reliving the story. The Chacham is reliving the story, and as he is being taken out of Mitzrayim, he asks his parents, who he assumes already went through Mitzrayim and already finished the story, he asks them, what did Hashem command you? Which in turn he will command me. The Chacham lives the story, and therefore asks out of anticipation and excitement, what did Hashem command you? What are the mitzvahs that I'm going to soon get? And therefore he is the celebrated Chacham, because yes, that is not easy to get, as opposed to the Rasha, who asks it out of a purely sarcastic terminology. And therefore we tell him, if you were there with this attitude, you wouldn't have got redeemed. But now that you're here, whether you're on board or not, you're coming with us to Mashiach. And therefore the Chacham words his question starting with Eidos, the testimonies, the middle of the two mitzvahs. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you fulfill the mitzvahs, whether they're because they're morally allowed or because Hashem said so, we know what you're meant to do because Hashem said so. But no matter how you fulfill the mitzvahs, it's a message to the Rasha that no matter how far you want to take yourself, by the very fact that you are a Jew means that there's a purpose that you're meant to be in this world. By the very fact, the testimony is the Eidos. Before you can get to the Chukim and the Mishpatim, the Eidos, the testimony that the Rasha is at this Seder right now is because you are a Jew, and therefore you have a purpose and you have a meaning. And therefore no, Pesach is not judgmental. Pesach gives us the lens that Judaism today is not just a bunch of commemorations. By every Yom Tov, you relive what's happening. That is what the Chacham teaches us. And ultimately that attitude spills onto the Rasha. Because by the very fact that he's here, the Eidos, the testimony that comes before doing the mitzvah, so the very fact that you're a Yid on this planet shows that there's work to be done, and he will join in as well to work to bring the true and complete final Geula with the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days, wishing you a kosher and a freilichen Pesach.